Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Garrett Macias. I am a sophomore here at Chaffey College, and today we are going to be analyzing Chapter 5, which is on learning. Today we're going to go over classical conditioning, operant conditioning, and we're also going to talk about positive and negative reinforcement. Hope you guys enjoy, and thanks for watching. Before we examine the three major concepts that we're going to discuss in this video, we need to first define what learning is. Learning is any relatively permanent change in behavior brought about by an experience or practice. A real-life definition for me would be learning to play the game of baseball. I started at the age of 2, and I've learned how to play the game throughout my past 19 years of playing the game that I love. Here we have my brother playing Xbox. He plays Call of Duty almost every single day, and whenever he asks me to play, he's so much better than me. I always wonder why he's so much better than I am, but looking at it, he practices a lot more than me.
So to me, classical conditioning, I think, is when I remember from psychology using like Pavlov's law, like when you like ring a bell, a dog comes and like they know that when that bell rings that there's food. So I'd say like basically having like a stimulus, and like it could be a noise or it could be like a smell, but like that triggers something in your head, and like it's like you don't even have to think about it, you just automatically like react.
Classical conditioning is like when we go to a women's store and my wife pulls all these things off the rack and she starts walking towards the dressing room and she just gives me the stare. I reach out, grab her purse, and go stand dutifully by the door waiting for her to try on everything and for her to come out and go, "Does it make me look fat?" Of course it doesn't.
As you can tell from both my girlfriend and my dad's definition, they each have their own unique way of describing what classical conditioning is. Now the question arises, what classical conditioning actually is in the psychology world. Classical conditioning is learning to make an involuntary response to a stimulus other than the original, natural stimulus that normally produces the response. The term classical conditioning was coined by Dr. Ivan Pavlov, a Russian physiologist who was studying different types of reactions to unconditioned stimulus. He uses his famous stimulus test of using meat as the unconditioned stimulus in front of a dog. The dog naturally salivates, and that is his unconditional response. Prior to conditioning, he uses a neutral stimulus of a bell facing the dog, and there is no salivation because no food is there. Now, during the conditioning, he uses the bell and meat present, and the dog salivates. That is the unconditioned response. And this shows that after conditioning, the conditioned stimulus of ringing just the bell with no meat shows the dog salivating. His salivation is the conditioned response. Through this test, it is shown that Pavlov is able to teach a dog to react to a conditioned stimulus that originally started as a neutral stimulus when there was no meat present.
Hi guys, you're about to see the perfect example of an unconditioned stimulus. So my job this summer has been to feed the neighbors' dogs, and the first time I came, no response. They didn't see any food. I just walked in and they kind of just walked to me and they're like, stranger, whatever. But this time, they are crazy. They know that as soon as I walk in, I'm the source of food. So I'm gonna show you guys me walking in. I have no food on me, but as soon as I walk in, they're going crazy. Check it out.
The next concept I want to cover is operant conditioning. This idea suggests that an individual makes an association between a particular behavior and a consequence. These consequences can be either positive or negative. We can credit B.F. Skinner with coming up with this theory of operant conditioning. Let's take a look at his experiment involving the mouse called a typical Skinner box.
So B.F. Skinner studied rats and pigeons in an operant conditioning chamber, which is called a Skinner box. Inside the Skinner box, they have a food dispenser and a lever that the rat can press. other conditioning chambers have things such as lights as well. Now you might wonder, why did Skinner look at rats and pigeons in a Skinner box? Well, it turns out that what he learned from the Skinner box can be applied to humans, meaning the information from the animals generalizes to human behavior as well. First, we want to know, why does the rat first press the lever? Well, it turns out rats are exploratory creatures, meaning they will walk around their environment and check it out. And so when the rat is first placed in the Skinner box, it may go over to the corner, stand up and smell the walls, but eventually it may come over and bump into the lever or stand on it to smell something up here. When that first occurrence happens, we can deliver a food pellet to the rat. But how do we get the rat to press the lever again? We can get the rat to press the lever through the process of shaping. And shaping is reinforcing successive approximations to the final target behavior. So if the rat were standing over here in the corner, I wouldn't deliver a food pellet. However, if the rat started to approach the lever, I could deliver a food pellet. Eventually, you reinforce those behaviors that are closest to the final one. Shaping is important for many of our operant conditioning behaviors.
Question number 2.
So, there are positive and negative reinforcements, and I think that positive reinforcements are like, if your kid's doing well in school, you're like, good job, like you got straight A's, like let's go out and celebrate. You know, like you're reinforcing their positive behavior with something that like is gonna make them want to do it again. And negative reinforcement is like, if they're doing bad in school, then you can like take away their phone. That'd be pretty serious, but like just take something away, like maybe like, oh, they can't hang out with friends one day, and like they understand why this is happening, because they were you're just trying to teach them to do better.
How do you define positive and negative reinforcement?
Positive and negative reinforcement. Have you ever been to the beach? Have you ever played in the sand? The sand that comes out is positive reinforcement. The hole, negative reinforcement.
Spoken like a true math teacher. Not going to work for psychology, though. It's evident after that my girlfriend definitely knows a lot more about psychology than my dad. Along the lines of what Shannon said, in accordance with the positive and negative reinforcement, there are also 2 types of punishments that go with the chapter. The first is positive punishment. That is something added to decrease the likelihood of a behavior. So, for example, that would be extra chores for not doing your homework. The second one would be negative punishment. Something is removed to decrease a likelihood of a behavior. An example of negative punishment would be taking your kid's car keys away because he forgot to do the chores, or he has been driving crazy with you and you don't trust him on the road. His actions lead to him losing the keys and his privileges to drive the car. And we're back with another real life example. I am inside my Mustang. I'm gonna go ahead and start her up. There we go, that sounds good. I'm gonna give you guys a quick little tour. Down here I have my new floor mats that I just got from my parents, and these are a perfect example of positive reinforcement. My parents have rewarded me for getting good grades for my second year in college, and every time I look down at them, it's just a positive reminder to me that if I continue to work hard, my grades will continue to be good, and I may even get more gifts from my parents just for them, showing that they support all my hard work and dedication for college. And we're back with the negative reinforcement. An example here would be, I have a very nice muscle car, and it can go pretty fast if I want to. But I need to know that in California, there are cops literally everywhere. So I need to keep it under the speed limit and resist the temptation to go fast. So an example of negative reinforcement would be, I turn the corner and zoom down right by my front door. And as soon as I pull in, my mom sees me and catches me going way over the speed limit. Her negative reinforcement could be to take my keys for the week, so I know that speeding is wrong and it is dangerous. What was the first task you ever learned, and what was the style that they used to teach you?
Oh boy, simple. It was summer, it was hot, we were by the pool, I didn't know how to swim. So my dad was told he had to teach me how to swim. So he put his Coors beer down, took me over to the deep side of the pool, grabbed me, threw me in. As I gulped and dug, he paddled to the edge. He was sitting back down with his beer. He says, "You need another lesson?" I said, "No, I'm good."